Welcome back, everyone. So this is our last installment for the season of Enough. And let's just get started. I know I'm going to be using color for these pages, so I want to start with a collage, a paper collage, of course, and start with neutrals, since I know I'll be working with a lot of color. So I have some book pages and ledger paper here. So I'll speed up the process and come back when I'm all done gluing down the paper. Okay, now that that's done, I want to add a layer of gesso. Use any gesso that you have. It could be thick or just regular. And again, this is up to you as far as how much you want to use. So once you've done this application, make sure that it is dry before you move on to the next step. Next, you want to decide on the colors that you want to work with. And I have pulled these three acrylic paints. The first is my all-time favorite blue, if you will. It's a turquoise by Golden, and I love this color. I never considered myself a blue person, but I do love this color. There's lime green and fluorescent pink. So I also want to use another color, a contrast, so I pulled these sprays, but that'll be later on. And I want to use a bristly brush, so I found this, it says Princeton, I think, and it's really a big brush, heavy bristled brush. So I just want to get the color on there, and I want to add texture through this brush and just go in a haphazard way. So here we go, starting with the turquoise, deep rich color. And if you can notice, my gesso isn't really dry. So anyway, I'm just going to go on. I'm not going to stop. But ideally you do want your gesso dry, or at least, it's up to you. Now I'm moving on to the green, and I'm not cleaning the brush. And while I like the shade, it's not what I was looking for. I was looking for more of a chartreuse color. You're going to see that I just add some little what am I trying to say? I'm adding some of that yellow, but it's not doing the trick. So I'm just going to carry on and keep going. So at this point, I am rinsing my brush, and it's not enough to just put it in that water. So I'm going to take a minute and rinse it under the faucet and be right back. I'm back, and I rinsed the brush and then noticed I have another one. So there it is. Who knew? So I am going to use the pink next, the fluorescent pink, and just do the same thing, put it in there. As you can see, I'm just getting really messy with it. I don't care about the overlap. Trying not to be so precious about it, but just getting the color down. It's been a long time since I've done something like this, so it does feel awkward, to be honest. Because it's so easy for me to overwork something that, you realize when it's too late. But again, on that note, it's not a bad thing, because this is how you learn. This is all about experimentation, so just go with the flow. So I have to remind myself. Next, I'm going to add some white primarily to change that green, and I'm liking it now a lot better. So this not only helps, but again, we're building layers here, so this is a lot of paint that needs to dry before we go on to the next step. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow ochre to that green. I'm still, wanting more of that chartreusey yellow-green color, so I think this will do the trick. And it does. So now I'm ready to leave it alone and let this dry completely. Let's see how well I do this time. All right, so now it's time to work with the stencil. And I've selected this stencil. It's quite old, so I apologize. I can't even tell you who made it. I could guess, but so I've had it for a while. And I'm just going to use white paint, and I plan to use it sparingly, so not all over, just to make some wonky circles. I could have done it freehand, but we're supposed to use a stencil this week. So just try not to overdo it again, and applying the paint. And so my next little trick is to move the paint, and this way you add texture. You also get marks that are, shall we say, not controlled. You just don't know where that paint is going to go. Now here again is a lesson in not letting it dry all the way, because by using the brayer, I pulled up the layers underneath. But guess what? I'm okay with it. I really love the interest that it adds. There I've just put a bit too much paint. But then again, you want paint, if you're going to use your brayer, you want just the right amount to move that paint. So this should be a better example of, as you can see there, it's moving the paint. But again, because I didn't let it dry completely, it is picking up the paper underneath, the layers of paint underneath. But actually, I'm good with it. And I think it just adds more interest. And one last step, this is the color I meant to pull originally, Tangelo. but I'm not going to spray it. I am going to just add splatters and some marks. I think it'd be fun to use this bright color for more depth, and just, you know, you can use your gosh, I'm at a loss for words. Anyway, use that as your mark making tool and get some of that color onto the pages. Now that the background is done, I'm going to let this dry. Really, I am going to let this dry. I'm going to work on my elements and finish this off, and I'll be back with the end result. Thanks. And here it is. So I want you to bear with me as I explain this process, because I think it could be helpful and I want to remember it for myself. So in starting, I knew I wanted to use this hand element here with the word enough, and that circle that you see there is cut from painted papers that Claudette sent me, so it's very special. And then, on the other hand, sorry, I couldn't resist that. But anyway, I also wanted to use this quote of these words and this image that is from an old collage sheet that Mystele had put together for a class. It was a freebie, so it's I love it, and I still have the sheet. So anyway, I knew I wanted to use these things, but I didn't know if they would work together. So then I decided to treat this as two separate layouts that work together, that still work together. So it's, I mean, you can take it as one spread or two different ones. Does that make sense? So that was my aha moment in working on this page, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So I added, okay, let's talk about the page on the right. I added the scallop trim from painted papers that I had in my stash, but I wanted it to kind of sink into the background. And then I didn't put it on the left page because, again, I was treating it as two different pieces, but they're sharing the same space. I don't know, have you guys ever done this before? Again, it wasn't really planned, but I love how it just unfolded, and I'm really happy to be able to share this with you this week. And I didn't forget the fabric. I just found this piece and under the word enough, and yes, that was enough. So thank you for watching. This is kind of long, but I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what you come up with this week. And till next time, take care, everyone. All right, bye-bye.